The true story then.
To get the story straight, I was moved out and I received a phone call from one of the shareholders.
Basically, short version, do it.
No, they actually said, don't do it. The business was on its knees. It was broken.
Can I save this business?
Well, you might as well shut the doors. It was a difficult 72 hours. Those who I've known over a long term backed me and kept credit going, which was phenomenal. It meant so much to me. So we signed the deal at 5 o'clock on the 18th of July. So less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you're back. We're going to go again and we're going to build.
Look, there's no quick way of doing this. You have to go through a bit of pain.
What are you maybe doing that's maybe a little bit smart, a little bit clever?
I'm fully thinking forward now.
So you're building it your way now.
I'm building it my way.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Richard Hill. Welcome back to the eCommerce One podcast. Today, I'm joined by Nick Preston, the man behind one of the most recognizable brands in the UK online nutrition market, Muscle Food. This episode isn't a surface level growth story. It's a raw, honest account of what really happens when a fast scaling e-commerce business breaks, gets mismanaged, and is then brought back from the brink, literally days from collapse. Nick takes us on the inside, full journey from building category defining products like protein pizza to being forced out of the business to getting a phone call that gave him less than 24 hours to decide whether Muscle Food lived or died. We talk about leadership under pressure, making brutal decisions at speed, rebuilding trust with teams and suppliers, and why sometimes growth means throwing caution to the wind and knowing exactly why you're doing it. This is a masterclass in resilience, e-commerce leadership, and making calls when there's no safety net. Stick around, this one goes deep. Now let's get into it. Hi Nick, and welcome to the eCommerce One podcast. How are you doing?
Very good, Richard. Thank you. Thanks for having me along.
No problem at all. I think before we get into the nitty-gritty of all things Muscle Food, I think it'd be great for you to introduce yourself to our listeners and how you got into the world of e-commerce and selling via Muscle Food online.
I'm still working it out myself, Richard. But, so I've been involved on and off with Muscle Food since 2014, since the brand started, really. It was founded by who I consider to be an incredibly talented marketeer, a gentleman called Darren Beale, who... our paths crossed by a mutual friend. I had a business which was creating products for the sports nutrition industry, predominantly private label products. And I'd seen this business emerging called Muscle Food. And I saw it on social media at the time on Facebook. And I wanted to reach out to them. So I was talking to another business at the time called Dr. Zach's, a guy called Ray Brillis. And Ray said that the products we were offering were exactly for Ray. And Dr. Zach's the brand, but they'd be perfect for this company called Muscle Food, which carried on getting mentioned. So we got introduced into Muscle Food. Darren Beale came in to the office, looked at his products, pretty much said yes to every product we had at the time, and the products were ranging from protein bars to protein crisps, etc. And within 48 hours, we'd received a significant order from Muscle Food, and I felt this is a business moving at pace. I thought the marketing at the time was disruptive. It was light years ahead of what anybody else was doing. They were pushing boundaries beyond boundaries. They were just making anything happen what they wanted to. So conversations progressed with Darren, and through the course of back end of 2014 through 2015, you could say he kept us busy. We created, developed, and rolled out over 130 products for Muscle Food. The business was going through a phenomenal growth phase, faster than any e-com business I'd seen at the time, and I wanted to be part of that more and more. So we pretty much assigned our business, Brand Nutrition, to be Muscle Food's creator of products.
Yeah.
So with that came some pretty juicy products, what I know we're going to talk about. I was trying to diet back in 2015, and like most people, I ordered a Domino's pizza. I tried to strip it back as much as I could and got a Frisbee delivered to the door, so I thought, this is no good. So I just sat there and thought, how do I create a protein pizza? We were pushing boundaries, and I had a customer there in Muscle Food and Darren who could give it the audience it warranted. So we created a pizza. We created 2 pizzas, and all of a sudden it just blew up.
Yeah.
In excess 700,000 pizzas sold online alone in the first year. We copied the whole Domino's range, and we did whatever we wanted. And we both realized very early on that the future of nutrition was more than just powders and bars.
Yeah.
I mean, they create a great space, and there's businesses which specialise in that. But Must Food wanted to do things different. So the perception was born and the image was born early on. Let's take dirty foods and let's make them clean. That gave us license to cause carnage. So it was just brilliant.
Wow.
So 10, 11, 12 years on now, I've become a part of Muscle Food over the last 10 years permanently. So I moved in 2016 as commercial director and progressed from there, really.
So you literally met your partner then, and you were the brand behind Muscle Food that were creating, or the group that was creating the products for them, and then obviously merged with them. Yeah,
when you had a team what Muscle Food had, whether it was trading, whether it was marketing, whether it was how they were portraying the products which we were bringing to life, they just took it to a different level. Yeah, it was perfect, match made in heaven to this day. And I'm sure Darren will watch this podcast shortly, but he's by far the best marketeer I've ever come across. Yeah.
So quite a journey then. A good decade plus at the sort of forefront of innovative products.
Yeah.
The protein pizza sort of says it all really, and we'll dive into some of the products.
Yeah,
but obviously you left the company, I believe, in 2024.
Before then, I left in 2021, December, the first time around.
Yeah. So you left, came back, sold, and then bought the company back in 2025.
Yeah, I was never the owner of Muscle Food. I have to make this clear because people give me so much credit thinking I created Muscle Food. So I worked my way through Muscle Food. I sat as part of the leadership team alongside Darren. And if we have a look at, let's work backwards. So in 2024, I think it's been well documented that I left Muscle Food. It doesn't sit well with me. So being a typical Yorkshire lad, I like to be honest, direct. And I never quit on the business. And I feel it's important to get that message out there that I didn't quit on the business. I didn't quit on my team. I didn't need to step away. The shareholders got rid of me. So simple as that. Yeah. They wanted to take the business in a different direction. I felt at the time they made some cock and bull story up to get rid of me.
This was at the time new leadership that had been brought in.
So in September 2024, the last time I left the business, I was literally pulled into a meeting. I had some accusations labelled against me, which was comical and farcical. And I left that day on the 23rd of September without being able to say, so long to the team. There was an announcement the next day to say that I'd stepped aside for family reasons. I don't hide behind things like that.
No.
So, for the story and to get the story straight, I was moved out. I believe the reasons were that they wanted to shrink the business into profit. A business such as Muscle Foods Nature, with the fixed costs in the business, the direction it was moving in, the momentum we were gaining, there was no need to do that. And I think, karma's got a place, and coming back in July, I think karma was served.
So the true story then, in reality, of you getting exited from the business.
Yeah, that's right.
And then not so long after, you then going back and tell us the story.
Well, I was having a sabbatical, so my daughter's got to know my name. Wanted to do this strange bloke was knocking around. Oh, it's your dad. So we had a couple of holidays when I left in September 2024. Really enjoyed it. I had so many years going on holiday and working the time zones, which I've said many a time, but to go away and actually kick back and relax and take stock of what's happened, take stock of what we've done, what we've achieved, what we could have done better. And I came back in January 2025 and I wanted to understand what I could do. And I felt, given my experience, whether it be commercial, e-commerce, I felt then that maybe I can have a look at consulting and supporting growing and emerging businesses. I take a lot of satisfaction. I've been in businesses which have seen rapid growth, businesses what have seen challenges. So I felt, perhaps there's a position. Dropped a little post on LinkedIn. Got a lot of people reaching out to me, and went from thinking this would be nice 2 or 3 days a week to right, I need a team. So very quickly we picked up some consulting contracts. That was running through until May, June. And then the driving passion was to move back in sports nutrition. And I started looking at what we could do in terms of the GLP-1 space. I've lost significant weight myself whilst maintaining a fitness regime, going to the gym, eating healthy. So I wanted to look at what the opportunities were in that market space. I didn't think it was a passing trend. I could see, as we sit here today, how the emerging products are coming to fruition, the retailers now on it and everybody. So I started creating products around that. Then on the 17th of July, I was driving to Hull to pick a car up for my wife, and I received a phone call from one of the shareholders, the former owners, who...
So at the time, we're owners at that point.
Yeah,
when they're
yeah,
making
the
call.
owners. The owners phoned me up on 12 o'clock or 11 a.m.
So you saw the number coming through, and you're like, "What's going on here?"
I'd reached out to them a couple of weeks before because I was looking at potentially taking their ready meal business off them, prep pots.
Yeah.
And I felt, to be honest, I could do a better job than the people who I'd left behind. The subscription channel had half since I'd gone.
Yeah.
So I felt it'd be a shame if something of that nature, which had grown so quick, we took it from 0 to 10 million the first year, was just to vanish. So I reached out. I know quite a few ready meal suppliers. I wanted to integrate the GLP-1 market into that business and really grow the subscription side. So a couple of weeks had passed, and I received a phone call from one of the shareholders who said, "Good to talk to you, Nick." I thought, this is positive, very amicable. We're not going to offer you prep pots, but would you like to take muscle food on? So the wife gave it. You know, sometimes...
Did you pull over at that point?
Oh, no, I was still driving, but you know, sometimes when you can feel this burning sensation on your head, and that was the wife looking at me. And, you know, we've been together 20 years, so she doesn't have to say anything. I can just look at her eyes. And I think she knew what I was going to say. So I went through the formal. Bearing in mind, this is 11:30 a.m., driving to Hull, and the question's just being asked, do you want muscle food? Now, I'm working out in my head how much. So I went through the usual things as you would when you're looking at the business. I thanked the director for the phone call, suggested that I get my finance guys to nip down, we'll do some due diligence. I knew it would be a time constraint given the phone call, so I said, I need a couple of weeks. Due dill in any business, you can go 6, 8, 12 weeks, but I know the business. Yeah. So I thought, let's kick for touch, let's look for 2 weeks, and then I'll carry out appropriate due diligence. The response was no. We need to know immediately from you, and if you don't take muscle food on, it'll close at 4 o'clock on the 18th of July. So I know we talked about that I'd concluded a deal in 3 days. I just wanted it to be believable for people. The actual deal, you know, that day transpired that I drove through to Hull, picked a car up, drove back, jumped on a phone call, worked until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, set off at 4:30 the following morning to drive down south, you know, on the borders of London, signed a deal for 4 hours, negotiating a deal from 7:30 in the morning till just before lunchtime, shook hands, drove back up the A1, and was getting asked if I'd signed the contract before I got there.
They were pretty keen.
So, pretty keen, yeah. So we signed the deal at 5 o'clock on the 18th of July, so less than 24 hours.
Yeah. Can you share the sort of, obviously, I think a lot of people were listening, you know, where they're looking at maybe acquiring, adding businesses to their portfolio or starting from an acquisition.
Yeah.
You know, obviously without sharing what share what you can, but obviously they rang you, you know, it's basically we're going to be, 4 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to be shutting the doors.
Yeah.
No doubt there's a lot of people there that you probably spent 10 years with, you know, so there's that ringing in your ears trying to say, or can I save this business? It's sort of part of me, I guess, 10 plus years, but at the same respect, there's this commercial, so there's a balance there. Your heart's saying, yes, I want this, but then commercially, you've got to get the right deal. So
everything told me. So there'd been talks. So I have a close group of people I've worked with over many years. Some incredibly talented people, whether it be commercial, whether it be e-commerce, whether it be operational. So them, including my family, when it had been mooted before. When I left, I always said that, the owners, they could have the keys, but it'd always be my house.
Yeah.
And I said that tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
When the reality smacks you in the face of, what do? Do you let this business, what you care so much about and has given you so much in life, do you simply let that go? Or do you literally put everything on the line when you don't have to? You don't owe anybody anything out of the business. I'd given my all to Must Food multiple times. Do you just let a business what so many, and I don't just talk about people who's worked there, who's built the reputations and gone on to amazing things. I talk about the consumers. I talk about the people who's supported Must Food, stood by Must Food for years. You know, for an e-commerce brand to say that we've got people who shop with us for 10 years plus, that's insane. Yeah. That's loyalty. So you can consider it. If anybody else is looking at doing it, just don't do it. So just don't. So
don't do what Nick says.
Do it proper. Yeah, don't do what I did, for God's sake, but do it proper.
Yeah.
So if anybody's looking at scaling through growth, do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Know your market, know your sector. I was at an advantage because I know Muscle Food inside out.
Yeah.
And when I'd left Muscle Food in September 2024, I probably knew more than the board I'd left behind about how the business was functioning and running, operating. I could see it. I could see the adverts vanishing from social media.
Yeah.
I already knew that the agenda was to try and shrink the business back into growth.
Yeah.
And I already knew the plans that part of that would be, they'd see it as cutting marketing budget. Well, you might as well shut the doors.
Yeah.
Because it was a plan which I said at the time when I was in the business, it wouldn't work. It was a plan which didn't work. Yeah. And I think the results of that is that I'm now back in Muscle Food. Yeah. So everything I said was accurate. Yeah. I think, you know, Muscle Food was so close to making it. When I came back in 2022, the business was losing just under £700,000 a month. So, and that's another story of what happened as to why I came back that time. But the business was on its knees. It was broken. We had 215 staff. They tried to scale it way too fast. They had plans of grandeur, which Muscle Food never needed. Yeah. And then we took a significant amount of cost out of the business. And when I left in September 24, I thought we'd done a good job. Yeah. We'd gone from 654 losses per month down to sub 100,000. The business plan, the trajectory, everything we'd set up was going to put the business back into profit for January 2025. Yeah. I knew what would happen. If they were taking me out, a perception of a high cost, if they were taking some incredibly talented people out of that business who were also moving in the right direction, and they replace it with people who really don't understand e-commerce.
They don't have the vision, they don't have the direction, the drive, experience.
It's crazy. It's like, no disrespect to milkmen, you ask a milkman to build an house, you're about as good as that. The team what took over, just like I've said, they tried to shrink it, it failed.
So you've taken a lot of advice at this point. You're just going back to the car moment and that 24 hours. You basically got these trusted advisors that you've drawn on and worked with over the building up these contacts, whether it's in marketing, operations, finance.
Pretty much the old Muscle Food board, to be honest.
From when I was there. Getting the band back together,
literally, 100%.
And they've all sort of said, basically, short version, do it.
No, they actually said, don't do it. They said, what are you doing it for? So why? Yeah. Well, I always, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a challenge, I always ask the question, and it's good for anybody in business, or if you're building a business, leading a business, you've always got to be able to answer the why.
I think that is the one, isn't it? I have a lot of conversations with business owners, say similar age to us, where they could and have exited, but then they think, okay, I've exited. We've got the boat. We've got the holidays. We talked about boats before we hit recorded. Or boats. Maybe we didn't talk about boats as a plural.
We pluralised it.
But boats, holidays, family. Year down the line, there's that itch that needs a little scratch. I think you enjoy what you do. It's like, what are you going to do?
It's personal.
Yeah.
I want to prove people wrong. So if it's personal towards me, I've been written off that many times. So everything I've got in life, I've had to fight for. Yeah. Hard. Yeah. I've worked for PE, who's like put me to one side. I've worked for private investors who lost faith. People have lost faith in this business. People have lost faith in the people in the business. And when you break it down, a lot of it's their own fault. Yeah. So enforcing and reinforcing the wrong plans time and time again. Well, I say when you sit as not so much an owner of a business, but when you sit as CEO within a business, you're akin to a football manager, right? And if you produce those results, then you're okay, but you forever buying time. And it's like a merry-go-round, right? Nothing's forever, but you just like to think that you get up in the morning, you give it your best, and it'll be recognised. But equally, for a football manager to get on long time and to persevere and to build something, they've got to be listened to. So, and they've got to be trusted. So I've had it where I've not been listened to originally when I took over Muscle Food in 2019 and left in 2021. And I've had it where I think the last owners lost trust in me.
Yeah.
So I use sports analogies all the time.
So you're back. You're back
Yep.
at the helm. You know,
Yep.
step me through that first week or two and some of the changes you made to sort of start to turn things around.
It was carnage. So absolute carnage. So we signed the deal, bearing in mind what a time to sign a deal on a Friday. That's what you can do over the weekend, right? What you can do. I had a bottle of wine, but we signed the deal. It closed the play on the Friday, on the 18th. I'd already, if you think from the previous afternoon and evening, I'd already started talking to people, my team.
Yeah.
And
but are some of these people within Muscle Food and some of them are not, I guess, bit of a mixture, or most of them have been exited maybe or not part of the group at the moment?
yeah, so they were out.
Yeah.
But obviously, the minute that we were agreeing the deal, we could get access in certain things, the financial performance of the business. So while we were waiting to sign, Rahul, who's an incredibly talented CFO, he gets my brain when we're making plans. He moves at pace. We call it fag packet planning. You know, when you've got sub 24 hours, you have to go on gut feeling, experience. And he moved incredibly quickly to get an understanding of where the business was. Where we were financially, because what could I do over the course of the weekend? So the guys who live all over the country travelled up to Nottingham on the Sunday. We encamped in the Hilton Hotel just around the corner from the office on this Sunday evening. We put together a plan, and then suddenly I've got my CFO back. I've got Eddie O'Reilly, who's worked with me 15 years in various businesses, also my father-in-law, so makes conversations interesting sometime, right? But Eddie looks after
Christmas dinner's fun at your house, then.
Oh, Sunday dinner's fun. We never usually get to Christmas. So, but we looked at Eddie on the commercial and operational side. A guy called Dominic Farrelly who was in Muscle Food before me. He was there day dot.
Yeah.
I call him the Oracle because he knows every SKU for buying. So Dom came in as buying.
Yeah.
And then a lady who I've got with me who's worked on and off with us over the years, Kim Malott. She was again one of the traders and one of the guys who was in Muscle Food through its explosive growth. So we'd all been working on different projects.
Yeah.
So when the conversation came, it was like, guys, are we doing it? And when they said no, and then I think Kim was incredibly encouraging about it. My father-in-law was laid on a beach on holiday, and I didn't tell him until afterwards that we'd bought Muscle Food.
Didn't want to ruin his holiday.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So it literally happened like that. So we encamped into the hotel on the Sunday tea time, put a plan in place. We had an understanding where the cash was, and we walked in on Monday morning. It was prearranged that the previous managing director, and you're going to have trust as well. You know, the previous managing director did a stand-up to the business. He left, and then I walked in.
So we stand up to the team.
Yeah, stand up to the team. Yeah. Whether it be on Teams, whoever was in the office, he asked for everybody in the office. He went out one door. I came bounding up the stairs in the other door. You could hear a pin drop. So
the majority of those people weren't expecting you to come up the stairs, or at
it was fearful.
Yeah,
it was fearful. Don't forget, some of those guys who were still there when I left had been told I'd left for family reasons. They thought I'd quit on the business.
Yeah.
So quickly unravelled that. That was the first thing I told people.
You addressed that straight out of the
100%.
gate, guys. Yeah. This is what happened. Or,
I told them, I was honest with them. You know, I never quit on you, so I'm expecting now it's a new start.
Yeah.
Give me a chance. Don't quit on me.
Yeah.
And I think it was a difficult first 72 hours. You know, everybody was quiet. They were fearful that they didn't know what direction the business was going. No, they didn't know. They didn't know. Yeah. If you've never walked into that situation, it's a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously they could be thinking all sorts. So is their job safe? Does my face not fit? I don't. You know, some of them would have worked with you. Some of them haven't worked with you.
What have I said about Nick?
I've heard he's a nightmare. This Nick guy, everyone's been slagging off for the last 2 years.
Yeah, my glass door's amazing. So unbelievable.
Oh, I'll have to have a look at that.
No, don't. But people who didn't know me, they'd be as fearful as the guys who were still there. So we had to win trust. You know, number 1 point, win trust.
So trust. A couple of others.
I knew. Obviously, in the short time I had, and I'd seen things and heard things from in the business building up, I knew that customer service was carnage.
Yeah.
I knew that for some reason, the they'd shrunk the CS team down to 2 people. Tickets were like 5 and 6 days before a first response. So talk about reputational damage. I'd actually been doing some consultancy work for a call centre called Contact Web down in Banbury. It was a new business just starting up, and they felt that my experience could help them. So Tom Horn became, he was already close, but he came even closer. So he dropped everything. He sent a team up of people on the Monday. So I took over on the Monday morning. By Monday lunchtime, we had a team of people coming in from Contact Web who were CS specialists.
Yeah.
And we had bums on seats for Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
They didn't know our systems. So we used people within our business who knew the systems.
Yeah.
And they just dropped in. And within 7 days, we were just making progress. We got first ticket response time down to sub 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was the number one thing.
Yeah.
The second thing I did was looking at the trading patterns of the business and moving into marketing, moving into e-commerce. I could see the business was dying, and it had died from January 2025. And when you look, one glaring thing stood out to me. That if you think sports nutrition, when's the busiest time of your year? Well, January, we call it fishing season, January, February, March. Right, that is when you can really make a difference. So I looked at the new customer numbers, and I thought I was looking at August, which is our quietest time. They've not brought in hardly any new customers. And therefore, if you don't get your new customers in January, what's going to happen February, March, April, May? By the time you get to July, when I took the business on, you've choked your business.
Yeah.
So I looked, I spoke to the marketing guys who we had and the paid social guys who we had in the business, and apparently they'd not been targeting new customers through the filters on Meta.
Yeah.
So we had to get that moving. So I opened the budgets up. I went aggressive.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, I threw caution to the wind on CPAs. I had to get a pulse back into the business. So I went very aggressive. We opened the filters up. We opened the jets up on marketing spend, and we started to acquire new customers. Yeah. I knew that wasn't the most sensible thing to do in terms of if from a finance perspective, because we're going to impact P&L.
Yeah.
But I knew without it, the longer term, we'd suffer. So we started acquiring new customers. We then had to look at the content. I wasn't happy with the marketing content.
Yeah.
The business had been pretty much turned into an online butcher. I didn't like the products. I didn't like the content. I didn't like how we were being portrayed across social media. If we were called Bob's Butchers, it had been awesome, but we're muscle food.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I had to get rid of the stigma of we're an online butcher, we're an online butcher. We're proud of the meat we sell. We're proud of the meat hampers we do. It's a vast amount of our business. But what we wanted to do is to say, look, we want healthier living for all. That's the mantra of the business. That's what we hide behind. So you can buy incredibly good quality, reasonably priced lean meat hampers. Yeah. Also, buy your bars, buy your ready meals from us. Yeah. I was starting to see, honestly, some of the stuff I saw, it was just insane. So we did a D-list. We got some new creative and new marketing spun up.
Did you drop quite a few products at that point then as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. So it was just, we delisted a hell of a lot of products. Yeah. Some of the products were just a joke.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, we've opened the marketing up, we're creating new content, we're repositioning the messaging.
Yeah.
We're getting visual again onto social media.
Yeah.
And then we sat and waited, but, only made by a business in our industry sector in the worst month of the year. Everyone's on holiday. Who wants to diet in August, right?
So let's rewind a second then. Yep. So you've gone in there.
Yep.
You've sort of stood there and gone, hey guys, I'm back, sort of thing. Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
EastEnders.
It's like, oh yeah. Phil Mitchell's back. Or maybe not Phil Mitchell, but I'm trying to think. I don't watch it, so I can't do it. But you're back. And obviously but the key message there, I'm back. This is the facts. Yep. And I want to build trust with you. And we're gonna go again and we're going to build. And I'm bringing in some of the old team, the old crew that was a trusted formula back in the day, sort of thing, obviously. But the business and the market isn't what it was. The business, the industry is very different to, even 12 months ago, but definitely over the journey you've had there. Obviously, a lot of change, a lot of new players, perception and everything, very, very different. So you've had a few challenges to sort out straight away. So customer service been the big one.
Customer service massive, marketing the other one.
And then really dial up the acquisition, knowing there's a cost. It's going to hit the balance sheet in the short term, but knowing that we're building a customer base. And then with the better customer service, the better reputation, the better visual on socials, knowing, and this is what we'll come to, the bet, I guess, is that then that acquisition will turn into lifetime value and and repeat business subscription. So now, sort of fast forward to today, how has that
retention? So look, there's no quick way of doing this. You have to go through a bit of pain. Yeah. So where the business was to where we're taking it, and I don't look at what we're doing tomorrow. So there's people, the trading, the finance, the commercial guys. They look at what's happening tomorrow. That gives me the ability to look at it a holistic view from above. Yeah, and see where I'm at. 3 and 6 months is important to me. So working the numbers, getting the data. The data we were relying on in the business to say we had some experienced data people was abysmal. So we didn't know lifetime values. We didn't understand what the churn was. Yeah. So it made it very hard. Well, it made it very obvious to me why the subscription side of the business was failing. But it made it very easy to look at what does the short, mid, and long-term plan look like for the business. So look, we've invested heavily into the marketing side, particularly into the paid social side. I've made some changes, brought a couple of agencies in who are experts in this particular field. Yep. August was a tough month. I wasn't expecting growth versus July. You just hang on in there in August in our industry. Then September, October, November, December, January, we've just punched out 5 consecutive months on growth. Yep. Customer numbers, we've acquired 54,000 new customers in 5 months. Yep. The vast majority of those, so our subscription channel, preppots.com, the subscription channel.
Is that for the meals?
Yeah, that's for the ready meals on subscription. That's when we started in 2022, we took it 0 to 10 million in the first 12 months. Incredible, because your margins are good. Yeah. And that mitigates the risk of, if you're just selling meat online, then the margins are tight, because supermarkets can bash you, and people don't always care about the lean claims you're making. Yeah. So you need something to support you on that journey.
You need a bit of a spread on the product, so there's a bit more margin. Yeah.
We sell incredible products on meat, tens of thousands of hampers a month. Yeah. But to really make money, you need something to support that. Yeah. The other guys overlooked it. They also got a double whammy where inflation on meat went up 40% last year. So they created a perfect storm for themselves, but that's because they didn't have the talent or the ability to grow subscription. So if you look at our subscription model now, between Prep Pots in December to Prep Pots January, it's grown 78% in revenue. Orders are up 68%, and sessions are up 240%.
What would you say to somebody that's listening now that's, we speak to a lot of subscription businesses. Obviously, you're getting those initial subscriptions because maybe, but the short version, we're dialing in and spending the acquisition costs. You're happy to invest to get that initial order. What are you maybe doing that's maybe a little bit smart, a little bit clever, that to build that retention so they do reorder and they stick around?
My advice is, again, I sound like I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm going to say don't do what I've done. I'd put a plan in place where I knew intentionally I was going to overinvest in marketing. Yep. I wasn't going to be too careful over my CPAs, because I've got to move at pace. And I've got to recover this business and get it moving in the right direction. That comes at a cost. If anybody's building a plan today, I would say don't follow what everybody else is doing. And make sure that your data is good. Make sure that you know what your lifetime value is, what your churn rate is, and make sure that your content is relevant to the offer, what you're putting out there. So something what's important to me is, you can look at any of the major subscription brands in food, and it's discount driven to acquire those customers. Yeah. So we're creating something which is slightly different. I'm not going to sell the soul to the devil. I'm not going to rely on, if you look at any subscription offers now, which relies heavily on a 50%, a 40%, a 30% first box offer.
A lot of them do it, don't they?
And then, well, they're all doing it now. But if you have a look at, consumers are getting more savvy. Yeah. So what does good look like for a consumer? Well, having your price double on your second one, that's going to be the biggest thing. You've got to offer a good product and a good proposition, not to lose it on the second order. So, know your market, know your facts, make sure that you manage your budgets, and make sure you look after those customers. Yeah. So we're developing something. We're pushing customer service even further to hopefully encourage better retention stats.
Yeah. No. So. Fascinating story. I think we could go on for 2 or 3 hours today.
You've got to do 3 or 4 chapters.
We'll get you back. We'll get you back on. And, so I think you've touched on it, but innovation, obviously more than ever, I'm guessing, because maybe 10 years ago when you were flying through this journey, obviously nowhere near the amount of contenders and brands out there. You know, and as you said, you know, it just made me think, you know, you get these flyers in the door, 30% off your first box, of, you know, and that's just insert 20 brands that are doing something to do with meal subscriptions. And obviously there's a lot of variance to that. But obviously innovation, you talked about, you know, the protein pizza sort of a few years ago, but, you know, how key has that been to sort of really, really grow? And what are you got any plans at the moment that are really going to help you think in the next year on the innovation?
Well, what I could talk about. So I think I've given enough way over the years to people developing and creating products. So, you know, it's quite interesting. The protein pizza, when we created a protein pizza in 2015, nobody was doing it. Nobody had done it.
Yeah.
So you'd seen in America that they're doing a chicken-based pizza or a collie-based pizza. That's not pizza, is it? So, you know, we were, and I'm proud to say we were the first. And I checked things, we verified things. And you know, it's not only the pizza we did. We carried on, I think I've said on one of my videos, did a protein beer because My Protein had done a April Fool's. And then that was April the 1st. That was April the 1st, 2015. I got a phone call on April the 2nd from Darren saying, I want a protein beer. I went, yeah, I saw My Proteins, and I was laughing about it. He went, no, get me a protein beer. So we did. And it certainly had a rose bouquet about it. It was shocking. I've said it was diabolical. I could say a lot worse. It was terrible, but the PR from that, this is what you need. If you want to get ahead and you want to start getting your followers, your viewers, you want to drive people to your website, PR products were incredibly important to Must Food. Yeah. I mean, we did high protein cereal while cereal were probably still at school, right? Yeah. But we did so many great things. Yeah. We were bringing those in from Los Angeles. So I found myself flying out to LA for 24 hours and 36 hours to do a cereal deal, fat-free cheese. Now, there was a brand called Lifetime Cheese, and Darren was obsessed. I wanted to create me a fat-free cheese, Nick. I'm like, what do I know about cheese? So anyway, I found this business, and Lifetime Cheese was based in San Francisco. So I jumped on a plane, emailed the guy saying, I'm coming to see you, and I got European distribution rights for Lifetime Cheese. Went back to Darren and said, I can't create it, but I've got your distribution rights for this cheese. So there was things like that where we just thought of it and made it happen. Innovation, you have to move at pace. Muscle Food has got some very good things in the pipeline, which I'm sure, you know, I always quip, what makes us different? We can move at pace. I can sit in a meeting with my team, and within 3 or 4 weeks, we can have the product ordered. Yeah. So that gives us the advantage over a lot of people. Speed. There is no red tape. A lot of the ideas come out of my head, my team's head.
Do you find that as probably the person that the team are looking at for the innovation, obviously you've got other people there as well. Yeah, but do you have we've talked about, you've had some good holidays last year and you like to spend time on your boat. And, do you have do you find that, is it, you need a bit of time just sort of on your own to think, or how do you, is it like a space that you've created?
Usually the boozer.
Usually the pub. Few beers, having a chat with your mates.
The ideas get wilder. So the ideas, because some of the things we come up with, you've got to think: is this feasible? Is it a reality? Has it been done before? Can we actually do it? Yeah. And you have to be in a relaxed environment, right? Yeah. But there's no set place where I could be if I think of a product. When I was looking at what I was going to do last year when I was doing the consulting, I invested one old pence on the domain glp1food.co.uk. Then we got GLP-1 support. And then we start creating a range of products, which I keep looking at the market. Nobody's brought them out yet. Yeah. So I see now brands selling in retail, which sort of, I see the supermarkets just jumping on a bandwagon, to be honest. Yeah. They had the protein come along, and it was like protein this, protein that. Now it's like for their own extension. You've got all the retailers going, protein, it's great for GLP-1. So,
it's not, they're not leading with it. It's just an afterthought.
Well, now they've done these GLP-1 specific ranges of products. Is it really? Come on. Have you not shrunk something? Have you not just relabeled a protein product? Yeah. Well, what makes it unique? Get real. Yeah. Yeah. So we are doing something different. There's so much more than just protein, what you need in that particular diet. Watch this space. I can't give too much away. So
products-wise now then, you've obviously got, maybe step us through it. You've got the meals. Mm-hmm. You've got the, as you referred to it, the sort of obviously where you started, but, back in the day, your traditional, your meat hampers.
What we've got is, we've got the lean meat hampers, which has always been the cornerstone in Muscle Food. We've got the ready meals, a channel which is growing back for us. Yeah.
That's a very important channel, the ready
Yeah,
meals.
we're holding around 350 SKUs at this moment.
Yeah.
But because we're dealing fresh, something I'm incredibly proud of about Must Food is our wastage is 0.001%. Because of the technology, what the guys, when they set up Must Food, recognise what they needed.
Yeah.
So to have a fresh meat business, how many other people can turn around and say they have no waste?
Yeah, incredible.
So I think it's testament to the people what came up with the idea of Must Food, Darren, Phil Bridge and Amy Kershaw, people like that, to what they created. And it makes us proud that 12 years later, we're still pushing the boundaries when it comes to zero food waste in our business.
Yeah.
So and I think, if we compare ourselves to other businesses, it's quite a unique proposition, I think.
Yeah, I would say it's quite a, you've got very specific challenges, I think, with your type of business.
Supply chain's robust.
Operational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supply chain's incredibly robust. Very fortunate that we've got some incredibly committed partners.
Yeah.
Partners who I've built close relationships with over the years.
Yeah.
I think that made it easier coming back in as well. You walk through.
I bet there was a few phone calls. So I can imagine, you've done the deal, and then you're ringing up, hey, John or whatever he's called, the chicken guy or whatever. Hi, John.
Well, to be honest, I think
it's Nick. Nick? Nick?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I couldn't tell you. The most interesting thing was I think the first thing I did was start phoning people saying, have I still got credit?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're no longer part of a group.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantees what can be put in place.
I was curious about that because obviously, you've got this, obviously these, the company that acquired the business and so forth, obviously they've got this credit limit based on them.
Right,
You're coming in, and obviously is maybe a bit of a reset.
Yep.
It's a new entity. Is there anything you want to share there in terms of navigating probably quite a challenging financial sort of?
I think that's why Raoul said to me, "Don't do it."
Did you nearly have to sell the boat?
Christ, I think when I have a look, we did some PR when I came back in, and it was quite interesting. And I think you're always making inroads if you get a troll. So I was fortunate enough to pick up a troll on the grocer's press release about me saying, quite some derogatory things. And I don't mind. Anybody can say what they want about me if it's accurate and true, but don't make stuff up about me. Or if you want to make stuff up about me, at least, pick the phone up and talk to me about it. But some of the stuff what was said was highly inaccurate, apart from, I hope Nick Preston puts his hand in his pocket this time instead of spending shareholder money and stuff like that. You can get a business for the price I paid, which was £1 whole.
Yeah.
What people don't realise is when you're burning $340 a month, when I walk back in.
You might have bought it for £1, but you've got a 350 grand to find that every month.
Well, you need a couple of £1 million. And I don't have a couple of £1 million in the bank. I've done very well.
Yeah.
But then you have to look at what you could do. So fundraising for anybody who's looking to grow a business, make sure that you're locked in.
Yeah.
I took the opportunity, and I knew this was coming, at the time when the deal was done on the business. I had to create some headroom. And I knew that funding for Must Food would be tier 4 funding, high interest, short term. It was going to cost us money. But what I did realise was if I extended the year end by Must Food by 1 month, I'd capture the credit write-offs by the previous owners. And that springboard Must Food into profit for the previous year when you put that into company's house. So I brought forward the audit. We didn't have to submit our accounts FY25 until this April, but we submitted them in January. So we brought the auditors in. We got the audit done. Yeah. We worked incredibly hard, not just with our suppliers, because some suppliers have removed credit, quite rightly. Yeah. I'm sat here without the backing of shareholders, which I talk about. Those who I've known over a long term backed me and kept credit going, which was phenomenal. It meant so much to me.
So we submitted our end of year early there with a positive,
which gave us a credit,
which gave you then a maintained or maybe increased the credit limit that you would have had without that. Yeah,
correct. So it made the business viable. It allowed us to bring in working capital, and it gave us the opportunity to build a runway for the business. Yeah, which we did. And as we progress, when we move forward now, we've got 90% of our suppliers now give us credit back. The 10% just happens to be the biggest one, though. We sell about 120,000 kilograms of fresh chicken a month. We pay for that not even on delivery. We pay for that in advance. 8 days in advance.
120,000
kilograms of chicken paid for 1 week in advance. So that chews up around £500,000 a month for us in working capital.
Wow.
We're continuing to work hard. We pay these suppliers. We've never missed a payment. Building the reputation back is important to us.
Yeah.
So, when we think about where the growth's going to come from the business, that working capital to reinvest into marketing, to invest into the trading functions of the business.
Yeah.
That's I'm looking forward to that day. But, we're making headway every day.
So some smart moves from the outset, and by the sound of the message, I think one of the messages there is obviously you've got these relationships from more than a decade that you've basically you've gone back to some of these people and said, hey, and they think, well, actually, Nick was a good guy back in the day.
Yeah.
He didn't shaft us,
So
do you know what? Let's he's got investment, and he's heading up this group, and some guys are working with him. So let's jump on the train with him, and so some people back you. So I think, I always think, you sort of, we come across a lot of people in business. I've been doing this probably a similar time, similar length, similar age, shall we say? Very similar age. We weren't really surprised. We're a very similar age. You obviously deal with a lot of people. Running a business for 20 odd years, and it's just been right with people.
Yep.
Of course, sometimes are tough, but you still can be right with people where you can. You
have to be.
Totally. So I think just that, that stood you in amazing good stead over the last decade or so to now, where you're going again with muscle food. So hats off to you.
It's you don't burn your bridges.
No.
I think the relationships I've built with some of our suppliers, long-standing ones, they're phenomenal. I was just in Ireland last week with the guy who created the pizza for us. He came on my stag do. He came to my wedding. 7 or 8 years since, we're personal friends.
Yeah.
His business is doing phenomenally well. He's probably one of the major suppliers of pizza to all retailers in the UK. And we chatted like old friends. We laid some foundations and plans. We've got some exciting new products in development. So, although it's needed to draw a reference to what's happened in the past and where I feel people could have done better, and if I'm being critical, where I could have done things differently, I'm fully thinking forward now. We've just invested a significant amount of money in a new website for Must Food. We've got 3 platforms at the minute. We're consolidating that down into one platform. We're not rushing. We rushed to the last platforms.
Yeah.
I don't think they're very good. They're functional, but if it fits my vision for muscle food, we're going to become destination health, a one-stop solution for everything everybody needs to lead a healthier life, not just the meat hampers, not just ready meals.
Yeah.
I'm talking about thousands and thousands of products accessible to people.
Yeah. And education.
The whole shebang. That will be launched by, I think, calendar Q4 this year.
Yeah.
So we're mapping out a vision. We're mapping out what good looks like. It keeps us focused. It keeps us determined. And what's important to me, the team are buying into that now.
Yeah.
So when I talked about skepticism or people's perception of me or the people coming into the business last July, I think nobody's thinking that now. I think there's a relief at first, and then an understanding that I'm not some big bad guy.
Yeah.
I work incredibly hard on culture and giving people access. I'm a massive believer in certainly women in business, backing them. Something I forgot to say, I brought back my paternity and maternity policy. I wanted to do something different to show that everybody's important to us in the business in Must Food. So in January 2024, with no consideration to my shareholders and without discussing it through, which was my bad when I was in Must Food, maybe I should have mentioned it, I changed the paternity and maternity policy, from which I thought was shocking and not sufficient enough. And
so improved it.
Improved it significantly. So any female member of staff or anybody adopting, whether that's same-sex couples or anybody who's going to go off on maternity leave, I'd give them 12 months full pay. So you can imagine shareholders were quite pissed off with me.
Yeah, staff are happy. You'll get fired.
See that they've got a group. And then paternity, I think I'd increased it to a month. And then as I left in September the 23rd, I think on September the 24th, it got cancelled.
Really?
It left me smarting. So when I came back in, guess what? I didn't just bring it back, but I made it better.
Yeah.
So we did 12 months full paid for female members of staff. I protected the positions while they're on maternity leave, so they're still open for promotion.
Yep. They don't get left behind.
They have that job security. Yep. Then paternity pay. I wanted to be the best, and I wanted to punch above others' weight because hopefully others would follow. I know my struggles I had when we had kids. I wasn't at Muscle Food, and I know the challenges and the fears it brought. Then paternity, we brought in a 6-month full pay on paternity as well, which was 3 months full pay. Then 3 months like working remotely, not even working remotely, enjoying the kid, and then 3 months integration back into the business on full pay.
That's incredible.
So working 2 days a week for 1 month, 3 days a week for another month, 4 days a week for another month. So it was something I'm incredibly proud of.
Yeah.
The first time I launched it, I remember one of the shareholders phoning me up and he went, "What have you done?" I says, "Well, listen, this is trailblazing. This is bucking the trend. I want to drive change." You know, you better. I've just seen it on LinkedIn. You better take it off. I went, "It's been on 3 hours and got 500,000 views. Do you want me to pull it?" So obviously the late ride, but it got 2 million views the first time. 25,000 responses, thousands of comments. So
a lot of DMs. Is there any jobs? Probably as well.
a hell of a lot of them. Yeah, but I mean, you know, my vision is certainly for the women who we've got in the business now, and the females is I want a 50% board within 18 months. Yeah. So male and female. Yeah. There's no changes on salary, what we do. So you talk about recovering a business, you've got to give people hope, right? Yeah. To get them moving and thinking and believing the direction we're going.
So you've gone in there, you know, and like we said, you know, you've gone in there, he's back sort of thing. Yeah. But there you basically, you know, you've gone in there with this vision and they can see the change you're making and you're sort of a man of your word, doing the things you said you're going to do, making positive change. They think, hang on a minute, this is way better than it was before. That's in theory.
Well, they've got me on here and I'm now on social media, so I keep...
They've got you doing podcasts.
Christ, I'll be on TikTok next. But they've got me doing podcasts and look, I want to be an open book. Yeah. I believe that people, including our consumers, deserve people to be honest with them. Yeah. So, you know, and certainly the staff, the team, you know, we're colleagues. It's an open door policy at work. Nobody closes the door. So they have access to us 24/7. And I'd like to think that, you know, hopefully in the not too distant future, we can all go on an amazing journey.
So you're building it your way now.
I'm building it my way. Yeah. Like Frank Sinatra said. So, yeah.
You did say you wanted to do as a tune, but...
but yeah, I'm building it my way, but equally, I'm not as arrogant as to think everything I say or do is correct. So I rely heavily on feedback. I do listen to people. Yeah. Christ, I even listen to my kids. So in terms of their critique, when I'm on these videos or doing these things, but it's incredibly important that I listen to the team, what we're building, because... I've got an incredibly talented team, and they're a young team. Yeah. So you're sometimes a father figure. You sometimes, you know, people look up to us, and we have to conduct ourselves in a way which is befitting to that, so we can help support them and grow them. Yeah. It's incredibly important.
A lot of lessons that you've learned yourself about yourself over the last 20 plus years. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, when we step back and think about, you know, maybe those leadership lessons, that the way we used to do things maybe, and then you try and implement things, people push against it. But then I think going back to what you're saying, just imparting that vision and sort of being a man of your word and being right with people. And then actually, you know, he said that 6 months ago and things are getting better. And actually he's implemented this and we are. Actually, if you've seen the socials, they're a lot better.
You've got to be open.
Got this underlying, do well, do good, do right by people.
You've got to be open with people. Yeah. Honesty, it means so much to people, especially, like I say, the journey, what the guys have had. Yeah. So timelines might change. So, you know, the guys were on about something else I brought in literally the week before I left week before I was kicked out the door in September 24. I brought in giving people the right to work from home 1 day a week. Yep. And I felt that I was building a position in the business where I could trust them, because when I came back in 2022, I wanted everybody back in the office, because I had to move at such a pace that I couldn't be waiting for emails. I couldn't be waiting for calls. I needed the team together. I needed to unite them. So I brought everybody back into the office. You know, that's a business losing 700K a month. I wanted the war room. I wanted everybody to see the work, what was going on. So, and very much a lot of that team, especially in Nottingham, was the team where in September 2024, when I could see that the business was on the cusp of recovering and turning round. I wanted to reward them and show that I trust them. So I'd said to the guys, literally the week, this is crazy, I think it was on the Thursday before I'd got shown the door on the Monday, I'd said, right, you can work from home, work it amongst yourselves, 1 day a week, work from home. This is a thank you. And everybody buzzed. I got cancelled. So that got cancelled the same time as paternity and maternity.
That was a bad week for him when you left.
I think the former managing director referred to me as a regime or a dictator, and I thought, well, hang on a second, let's have a look a bit hypocritical, shall we?
It just sounds like a catalogue of poor decisions from the previous people.
You put somebody with no experience in charge of an e-commerce business, a £30 million e-commerce business. What do you think is going to happen?
And then there's just the lack of trust, by the sound of it, to the team.
I think the biggest no-no was don't shrink muscle food into profit. It doesn't work. I think it's worked with a small number of e-commerce brands, but the fixed costs alone in muscle food told you it wasn't possible. Yeah. So, I think now, look, I've said it recently, we're not out of the woods yet. We've got a lot of hard work to do. We've got a committed team. We've got a hard-working team. We've got some incredibly talented individuals in the business who all believe. And I think belief can be worth that extra 20% sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
And the guys are moving in the right direction. Brilliant. So it's good.
Well, Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to end with a...
Just talked all day, as ever, Richard.
A couple of final questions. Yeah. So, I believe you've been working alongside the Good Food Group. How those synergies with those other brands been sort of working for Muscle Food?
It's quite interesting because Google says the same thing about this. So just to rewrite or retell the story on this particular question. So when I was doing the consulting work, a guy I've known for many years, Ross Carlin, who owns and founded the Good Food Group, approached me. And it was just over at Burton Waters in Lincoln where I had a meeting with Ross. And he asked me whether I'd be interested in coming on board with the Good Food Group as managing director, with the directive of growing the business. Obviously, he felt that I know brands. I'd worked with Ross. He'd done a great job getting Must Food into retail over many years. And I'd known Ross 10 years. He's an incredibly talented guy, very busy. So I could see the logic and sense in bring old-timer in like me to be managing director and let him focus on some of these other business interests. So I actually started that in around March time, and I went into the Good Food Group along with a few other projects I had. And Ross wanted me to grow the business. So I thought, what a great way of growing the business. I'll just buy Muscle Food, and then we'll put it together as the Good Food Group, right? I've done my job. I've grown, as a managing director, reporting into a founder. Yeah, I've taken your business and we've turned it into a £30 million business. And I think the elation at first and the jubilation was, we've done something nobody expected us to do. And then the dust has to settle. And you start looking at the Good Food Group, which is building in a particular direction. And then you've got this monolithic mess, which is Muscle Food version 6. And you look very quickly and you go, how are we going to make this work? And I think Ross has got business interests away from just the Good Food Group. I know that it was probably my drive to Ross saying, we've got this, that he got caught and we got carried away with the emotions. And we went into Must Food on the first week. I wanted to move at pace. Ross was methodical in his planning. And I think, it was like when Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin went through their divorce. It was a situation where you'd shake hands and you'd look after your best interests. And we decided that given Ross's interests and given the focus, what was needed in Muscle Food, I could commit all my time to it again. Yeah. I knew what was required because I know how much I had to put into it last time. We decided that we'd go our own ways. But incredibly amicable. I've got so much respect for Ross, so much respect for the Good Food Group. Yeah. Any e-commerce brands out there who are looking to create a brand, get into retail, you'd speak to those guys. I can't speak highly enough. And I think it was a very mature thing for both of us to do. And I think, if anything, it would protect both businesses. So we went to separate ways about 3 weeks after we'd come into Muscle Food. So, which was, it was rapid, to be honest. But we went his own way. So
but you came together for a short period, to try
100%.
And then it was like, do you know what? Let's do the sensible
thing,
and we still compete him at tennis or whatever.
I think that's for the benefit of everybody in both businesses, though. I think it was required, and there was no animosity. There's no stories what's going to come out about this big fallout. I think it was an incredibly considered thing to do.
It was a right decision.
Right time, right place, right time, right move.
Fabulous. Yeah. Right. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
That's okay.
Now, last couple of questions.
Yep.
We're sat here in a couple of years' time.
Yep.
What's the sort of vision for Muscle Food? How maybe do you see sort of AI layering into some of the plans for the future?
It's a good question. So if you think about AI layering in, Christ, when I first moved into the areas of this industry, we still had telephones with cords on his desk and yellow pages and stuff. So I feel I've been around business that long. AI is going to change. I think it can do a lot of good. I think it can also do a lot of bad. Where it comes as Muscle Food, we're already using it in lighter touch areas within the business. I think it can make us more informed on the decisions we make. I think it can make us more informed when we're doing certainly when we have a look at the retentions, the lifetime values, customer behaviours, whole aspects of the product development journey. I see that becoming bigger. One thing I don't want AI to do, certainly from me and my personal perspective, I won't be putting people out of work for AI. Yeah, I'll get the people to work with AI. Yeah, I think having that personal touch within the business is incredibly important. That it fits the vision for Muscle Food. We want to evolve the brand. For too many years, to summarise on it, everybody came into Muscle Food and treated it as a broken business. Everybody thought Muscle Food needed fixing, when the reality is Muscle Food just needed to evolve. It didn't need so many staff to be got rid of. It didn't need the logo turning black. It didn't need posh offices in Manchester. It didn't need 35 developers costing £3 million a year. It just needed to evolve with the times. Yeah. Just needed somebody to get hold of it and be sensible. So we're going to take us time with Muscle Food. I don't care if Muscle Food becomes a family business of mine for 20, 30, 40 years. So be it. But we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to push the boundaries when it comes to innovation again. We're not going to rush things. We're not going to make the mistakes what happened before. I just hope that this next 24 months brings the stability for the team what they haven't had for so long. Yeah. So and I think I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching from the sidelines, and we'll get you back on in 12
brilliant.
Months. We'll do a 12-month update.
That'd be good. So
see how
the hair will still be the same.
Well, I like to end every episode with a book recommendation. Have you got a book to recommend?
Yeah, can I go on author instead?
You can do what you like.
So it's not a business book though. Yeah. So what I tend to find is everybody's got every opinion on how every business should be run. Yeah. So when I'm out of work, I like to be able to drift off. So, and I like to be able to take myself out there. So as an author, for many years, I've always leaned towards John Grisham. Yeah. I find that his lead roles, whether it's Rudy Baylor or one of his main characters, you can drift off into that. Yeah. And I think it takes me so far away from work. Yeah. I find it great relaxation. So John Grisham, certainly on his fiction ones.
So quite a disconnect from the business books. That
Absolutely.
Good for you. Yeah.
We spend enough time at work, so I like, not many things can switch your brain off. Yeah. But I find a good book to actually give you the opportunity. That hour, that 2 hours, it's vital. So
do you read quite a bit?
No, not as much as I used to. No.
Not now.
Constantly
maybe last year.
Constantly on Shopify or No, I
refresh.
Don't. But just refresh all the time. My thumb, my fingers are getting sore from it. But no, it is refreshing all the time.
Well, Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's been great. It's been absolutely great.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening to this podcast, so you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.